Hey, mamas, you are listening to the Motherhood is Ghetto podcast. We all know motherhood can be a beautiful thing, but girl, it can also be ghetto. Join me as we discuss some of the best and worst parts of being a mom raising kids, all while trying to figure out this thing called life. This ghetto is a safe space, mamas. So, welcome to the hood. Hey mamas, welcome back to another episode of Motherhood is Ghetto. My name is Joy, and how y'all doing out there? If y'all doing all right, say amen, amen. And before we get too deep in the episode, no, I have not changed that battery in my smoke detector, amen. Two, I still don't know which smoke detector it is that's chirping like that because I haven't taken the time to find out. Um, I don't know, y'all. It's just every time I go to the store, like I be trying to go to the store to survive. Like I be trying to go to the store, give me my kids something to eat, and I be trying to get out of there as quick as possible because like I absolutely hate going to the grocery store. I hate going to any store. Um and anytime I gotta go to the store, like I'm just trying to hurry up and get out. So the last thing on my mind be batteries for that damn smoke detector. So you'll probably hear it again throughout this episode. But yeah, but just, throwing that out there. But I hope you guys have had a great day so far, a great week. Um, I really haven't been doing too much. Been doing some things here and there, but overall, just out here, just trying to live my life, just trying to be the best person I can be and be the best mom to my kids that I can be. Amen. So before I kick off this episode, I want to ask you mamas a question or whoever is listening because I need some help. So while we're on the topic of shopping, particularly grocery shopping, like I need to know what is y'all's grocery budgets? Like for anyone who has children, maybe like three or more children, or like I don't know. If you have three or more people under your roof, what does your grocery budget look like? Because I'm struggling right now. I'm struggling to stay at my budget, and I have been, but where I'm struggling at is I don't think that what I'm spending on groceries per month is enough. And that scares me. That scares me because there has to be one or two things going on. Either one, I'm not buying enough, or two, my kids are eating too much, like too fast. And I can't figure out which one it is because right now it feels like both. And I feel like, okay, well, if I buy more food, then that's just more food for them to eat up. Like they're still going to eat it up at the same rate. Like, I've thought about buying a lock for the pantry. Like, I've thought about so many different things. And I'm like, and I don't know, like, well, I know for sure it is because it's summertime and they're just home all day. And they just, if it's in there and they see it, like, they're going to eat it. And I think every kid is like that because I know when I was a kid, I was like that. So, but it's just with everything being the cost that it is, it's like, what am I doing something wrong? Like, is this something that I need to reevaluate? Because right now, currently, my grocery budget is $350. I know it sounds funny, but I have aggressive savings goals. And I was like, we spend way too much on food. And that was the only thing that I was seeing that what we were spending way too much on. And I don't know. So I made a change for us like in February. I was like, okay, our grocery budget's going to be $350 a month. And if we run out of food, we just run out of food because I'm only going grocery shopping once a month. And and it was fine for a little bit, but now like that is summertime and it seems like everyone has two stomachs each. So that equals to six stomachs. It's just been hard for me to keep up. And I just want to know like is am I not spending enough? Should I be buying more and then just be more strict with like rationing the food and like maybe locking stuff up? Let me know because I'm struggling here. And I was over my mom's house this weekend and I was telling her I was like, I think I'm gonna have to go up on my grocery budget because like $350 it's seeming like it's not enough. And she was like, that wouldn't have even been enough for when y'all were kids. And it was me and my three brothers and my dad. So there were six of us. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, even back then, $350 wouldn't have been enough. And with the food cost being astronomically lower than it is now. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's bad news. That's so bad to hear. So I just want to know, like, what do you guys spend on groceries, like, like fast food stuff, like eating out aside. Like, I just want to know, like, what you guys' grocery budget is, and if I'm being delusional with the 350 grocery budget, just please let me know. Like, I could take it. Like, I would appreciate the honesty and the transparency because, like, I really I want to, whatever I buy, like, I definitely want it to stretch so that way I don't have to make frequent trips to the grocery store. But it seems like I'm having to do that anyway and spending more money anyway in between the months. So I'm just trying to find a happy medium when it comes to this grocery stuff. And I still want to be able to save like I've been saving. So as far as like saving like in my emergency fund saving. So if you have any tips or anything that you think may help your girl out, help me out. Send me a DM. I'll put a poll in this episode. So if you're listening on Spotify, you can answer the poll, you can answer the question, and just let me know what y'all are doing. I would love to know. I would love the insight and the feedback if I'm being delusional with this $350 grocery budget. But anyway, thank you for coming to my rant about groceries. But let's get into today's episode. So, today's episode, I am going to be talking about how and why I cut the co sleeping cord between me and my youngest son. And I thought that this would be an interesting topic to talk about because I know a lot of moms out there still co sleep with their children or allow their children to co sleep with them. And if you don't know or are not familiar with co sleeping is like like, say when you first have a baby, right? And you have your baby sleep in the bed with you, that's co sleeping. And as they get older, yeah, I don't think the name changes. I think it's just still called co-sleeping. So, um, but I call it co-sleeping what my son was doing because my son was actually sleeping in my bed with me. Like he wasn't just sleeping in my room. Because I think it's different when like your baby is in the room in their crib, but they're like in a corner in their own bed in your room. It may be the same as co-sleeping, but I look at it, my perspective is different. It's just you got your baby is sleeping in your room as opposed to your baby sleeping in the bed with you. So I differentiate the two. So, um, so yeah, so I had to make a decision to cut that co-sleeping cord and I did it at first, like I did it gradually and kind of talk to my son and let him know, like, like you're getting older, so you're gonna have to start sleeping in your own room. But I want to kind of explain to you guys like how we got here and kind of like my logic behind it, so that way if any mamas out there who may have like a child or a tween who's still sleeping in the bed with them and they've been looking for ways like to kind of cut that cord and have them sleep in their own room without them feeling a certain type of way, right? Then yeah, hopefully this helps. So, I think I might have mentioned this before. I'm not sure, but my son started co-sleeping with me after my husband died, and it was almost immediately after my husband died. My son started co-sleeping with me. Before my husband died, my husband was like adamant about the kids not sleeping in the bed with us. So like anytime anytime like say, if me and one of the kids are watching a movie and like we fell asleep and then my husband would come in the room, like he kicked them out of the bed immediately. He'd be like, "Nope, go get in your bed. Go get in your bed. You can't sleep in here." Um which is understandable. So my kids had already been used to not sleeping with me for a while. Um, of course, they would sleep with me. Sometimes, I say if they were sick or something like that, and I was kind of monitoring like their fever. But for the majority of the time, they would sleep in their rooms, and everything was fine. So, after my husband passed away, my youngest started like I said, like immediately, almost immediately started sleeping in the bed with me. And for me, when he first started doing it, it didn't bother me and I understood, you know, and so I was like, okay, this is fine. It's no big deal. But as time went on, I started, feeling like, I didn't have any privacy. I didn't have, like, if I wanted to, like, come home and just like have a moment to myself, like I couldn't have that because like as soon as I come home, like my son is right there. He's ready to follow me upstairs into my room and sit with me, like, and he was just ready. And again, nothing wrong with that. It was just that I was feeling like there was no place in the house I could go for any type of peace or any solitude. And me personally, I'm the type of person where I 100% thoroughly enjoy like peace, quiet, silence, solitude. Like I'm okay with being alone. Um, and also too, when he'd come in my room, he'd turn on the TV, like put it on whatever show he wanted to watch. And it's like sometimes when I come home, I don't want to hear anything. I work all day and I listen to calls all day. I listen to people talk all day. I talk all day. And when I come home, I just sometimes want to be in complete silence. I don't want to talk to anyone and I just want time for me by myself. And I started noticing as time was going on that I wanted that more and more, and I didn't feel like I was getting it. So we definitely tried. At first, I tried like a compromise. I was like, okay, like 2 days out the week you can sleep in here with me, but the rest of the days of the week you have to sleep in your room. So we tried that, and then that failed because he would come in my room like after I had fallen asleep. And then when I wake up in the morning, there he is right next to me. And so I was like, okay. So I kind of was thinking in my mind, I need to go back to the drawing board. Like, I need to figure out why my son wants to sleep in the bed with me. Like, why is it important for him to be here? So that was number one. So I was like, let me find out what's going on with him first. Like I know the main reason, but I knew that there was like an underlying reason why he wanted to sleep in the bed with me. And so I asked him one day and I was like, and we were sitting there and we were getting ready for bed and I was like, son, I was like, why do you why do you sleep in the bed with me? I was like, you finna be at the time. I was like, you finna be 10 years old. And I'm sure 10-year-old little boys like your friends and stuff don't sleep in the bed with their mom. I said, so why do you want to sleep in the bed with me? And he told me, he said, because he's like, I have to be here to protect you, and I don't want you to be lonely, and I don't want you to sleep alone. And and I will say, with my youngest son, he definitely is one he's very much aware of people's feelings or how a person may feel about something. So in his mind, you know, I I was I myself have felt some type of way about sleeping alone or being by myself or in some way feeling unprotected because there was no one sleeping in the room with me. So he felt like he had to take that on. And I explained to him, I was like, I I don't need you to protect me. Like I don't, and I don't need you to sleep with me. I was like, I don't feel like lonely, and I'm not scared or anything like that. Yeah, of course, like sometimes I feel lonely, but it's not all the time. And he was like, well, you shouldn't be sleeping alone. And I mean, and I couldn't do nothing but like, show my appreciation for his care and his attention for me. But I just knew that this was something like I would have to get a handle on. And again, not saying that it's a bad thing, and not that I felt like I would ruin my son if he stayed in my bed forever or until he got grown. Like, nothing like that. There were a couple of reasons why I made the decision to like stand firm and be like, you like, no more of this. Like, you can sleep in my room, like sometimes, but the majority, like, you have to be in your own room. So number one, I want him to understand that yes, sometimes it does hurt, not, being able to lay next to someone like I was before. And sometimes I do feel lonely, but I wanted him to know that, like, I'm putting in the work to heal myself and to feel better about this, however that looks for me. And I don't want him to think that, like, I'm not doing what I need to do to feel better about this whole situation. I want him to see the healing, and I want him to see the work that I'm putting in. So it was important for me not to have him think that this is something he needs to do, because as parents sometimes we could put burdens on our children that we don't even know that we're putting on them. Just by saying little things like, oh, you never called to check on me, or, oh, this happened to me and you didn't even say anything about it, or, oh, when you get older, you're going to leave me here all by myself and I'll have no one. Like, stuff like that, when we say it to our children, it sticks with them. And it creates, depending on your child, it could create some level of like guilt, where they think like, okay, well, I shouldn't do this because then my mom's going to feel this way. And I don't think that that's the way that we should be directing our children. I don't, and that's not the way I'm directing my children. I don't want them to feel like they need to do anything for me. I want them to feel empowered to do what they want to do and know that their mom will be proud of them for doing it. That's what I want. And like I said, like, I appreciate my son to death for being aware of the situation and thinking like, my mom may be sad or she may feel lonely, so I'm gonna help her with that. And I love him for that. Like, that's my like, when everyone says that Solomon is my twin, but honestly, my youngest is my twin. Like, as far as like how we think and how we feel emotionally, like that's my twin. And I get it. Like, I understand. Like, I get it exactly where he's coming from. So that was number one. I didn't want him to feel like a burden or like a necessity to have to be here to comfort me or to make me feel less lonely, because that's not his job. Point blank, that's not his job. Second reason why I felt that it was important for us to cut that co-sleeping cord is because I had to think about how it may affect my other children, right? So, I have two other kids and they're both coming of age. They're going through puberty, going through all the motions of being a teenager and all that good stuff. And I mean, just thinking about when I was their age and going through things and having different thoughts and stuff, it could be rough. Um, and I've always, and I still do, make myself 100% available for my kids. I tell them whatever you need, whatever you want to talk about, I'm here for you. But if you feel like you can't come to me about something, like, please make sure there is someone that you can go to if you need to talk. Like, you go to your nini or any of your uncles or anything like that. Like, just find someone that you can talk to, at least if it's not me. So my door is always open for them. And I had to think about, if my youngest is always up under me, then what privacy or sense of privacy do my other children have when they do want to come talk to me? And they know that their little brother is always in my room, always listening, always up under me. They may feel like they can't come to me. And perfect example of this, one night, um, my son Solomon came to me like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he wanted to play rock paper scissors with me. Like, he literally woke me up out of my sleep and was like, "Mom, can we play rock paper scissors?" And it was 3 in the morning. But that was the only time, like, my youngest was asleep and wouldn't interfere or makes make maybe make Solomon feel like, you know, he was silly for having a request like that. Or even still try to join in, right? Because sometimes my kids just want time, like one-on-one time with me. And I'm all for it. Like, I'm all for it, and I understand it because I had the same sentiments too. When I was growing up, I have four older siblings, so I wanted one-on-one time with my mom, and I wanted one-on-one time with my dad. I didn't always want to do things as a group with my brothers. Sometimes I just wanted to be one-on-one with my parents. So I get it and I understand. But that was literally the only time Solomon had to get my attention because his little brother is always there. So I had to think about how it may affect my other children and the interactions that me and my other children have. And I want them when they come into my room, like, I want them to feel like it's peaceful, it's calm, it's a place where, like, we're not gonna yell, fights aren't gonna happen, stuff like that. And it's just another way for me, like, to break that childhood trauma, because when your parents go in the room and they close the door, then you know that, like, you may hear arguing, you may hear yelling, you may hear fighting, because, like, that's an experience that I had as a kid. I was like, I know if my parents go in their room and they close the door, only one or two things is happening. Either they making love or they fighting. Okay? So I don't like, and that carried on over with me. So every time, like, I had like something important to talk to my husband about, or if we had got into it, it always started in our bedroom. And so I'm trying to clear out that energy and clear out like those feelings of, like, when you come into the room, like, it's always something horrible that has to take place, or like a horrible conversation or a conversation that's going to make you feel not so good. So I do my best to make everyone's space, including my space, very peaceful and very calm and very warm, so that way they feel comfortable. And like I said, just with my youngest always being there, they may not feel inclined to do that because they're like, "Ugh, Hari's in there, like I'll just wait," and then they wait some more and they wait some more, and then next thing you know, it's like 5 days later, and they're over it, or maybe they're not over it, but they think that I don't, they'll never have time to talk to me, in the way that they would want to, maybe with more privacy, stuff like that. So with all that being considered, and also too for my youngest sake, right? Because I want him to know and understand. I want them all to know and understand that the longer you live, the higher the chances of you losing like the people around you that you love. And I don't mince words or anything when I talk about, even with me, I let them know like one day I'm not gonna be here. Like I'm not gonna be here one day. So I need you guys to, act like you like each other, stick together, take care of each other. Cause one day it'll just be you guys. Like you guys will literally be all that you have. And and I don't shy away from that. So I want my son to be able to navigate those feelings when they do happen and know how he can heal himself and things that he can do to feel better. Because if he just runs to his mom's room every time he feels scared about something or he's sad about something and he has a problem detaching from me, then once I'm gone, it's gonna tailspin. He's gonna that's how I like that's in my mind what I think would happen. He's not gonna understand, how to deal with his feelings and his emotions. He's just 100% focused on the loss. And because his mom was always there to comfort him and to, make him feel better about things and give him that sense of protection, he won't know how to find it within himself if, I keep allowing him to I hate to say like use me because I know that's not his intention, but, he's 10 years old and something really, he had a very traumatic experience. And so at the same time where he's saying like he wants to make sure like I have protection, I think he's also trying to make sure he has protection because it's scary to think about. There's lots of things that go on in this life that are scary to think about. And I guarantee you he thinking about them. So he needs to know like, there's some things that like you have to work out within yourself and that I may not always be here to help shield you from. So I thought it was important for him, just like me, to have his own solitude, his own safe space, so that way if anything happens, good or bad, he has a place that he can go to where like it makes him feel calm, it makes him feel at safe and at peace. And just like I wanted that for myself, I wanted it for him too, because it's important. So, with all that being said, what I did was step one, I bought a new bed, and which was hard for me to do because the bed that I've had it ever since he was a baby, and it was my marital bed, and it hurt me to get rid of it, but I knew that it was something that I had to do. One, because I needed a new bed, period. It was hurting my back. I was waking up with back pains every day. Like, I was like, I need a new mattress. Like, at first, the first idea was to get a new mattress and keep the frame. I had a California king size bed, so I was like, I'm just gonna get a new mattress, like, and let that be the reason. But then I was like, Joy, you don't need a bed that big. Like, you really don't. Like, would it be nice? Yeah. But you don't need a bed that big, especially if you're not planning on sharing it with anyone. And as long as your bed is that big, it's going to be easier for you to be like, when he comes in there, it's like, Mom, can I sleep in your bed? It's going to be like 10 times easier for you to say, yeah, come on, because you have the room. But if you get a smaller bed, then you actually literally don't have the room. So it won't be hard for you to tell him no. Because I have to also too think about my own my own shortcomings and my own weaknesses when it comes to my kids, and I'm trying to be better with that too. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a smaller bed. So I got a queen size bed. Got a whole frame and everything, and I put the frame together by myself, and I felt really proud. I feel really proud of my little bed. And it was something just for me. Like, it wasn't for me and someone else. It was just for me. So I did that. I got a smaller bed. So it can't nobody fit in it but me, because I'm already, I already got meat in my wagon, so I'm a little bigger girl. So it's just enough room for me. So that was step one. What I did do, because I do have also a futon in my room, all my kids know that if you want to sleep in my room, you are more than welcome. You just got to sleep on the futon. Like, no more sleeping in the bed with me, like, for anybody. So, um, so I did that. So, and then after I did that, my son, my youngest son, he was like, well, you know, I'm okay with sleeping in my room, but I think I may want my own room. Because at the time, him and my other son were sharing a room. He said, I think I may want my own room. And I believe, in my mom opinion of my children, I believe that because he saw me, making this space like for my room. And I've done other things in my room too. Like, I put together a little bookshelf. I put some LED lights. Like, I'm trying to make my room a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Amen. I'm trying to make my room a vibe. So he's seen like the little things I was doing in my room, and I think he wanted that too. He wanted like a space like just of his own. So I was like, that's interesting. You've never said that before. And I was like, talk to your brother, and see if, because they've been sharing a room ever since they were babies. So I was like, talk to your brother, and see if that's something you guys can agree on, and if your brother is ready, for that change. And so they talked it out, and they agreed that, they would have their own separate rooms. So that very next weekend, um, the room that we were using as their game room, like where they had their computers set up and stuff, I undid all that hard work that I did over Christmas break, setting them up a game room, and turned it into my youngest room. And luckily, the old frame that I had for my king size bed was like two twin size frames if you pull them apart. So that worked out perfect. So I set my son's bed up in his room, set up his computer in there, moved my other son's computer to the other room. So now they are separated and they are living their best kid lives, and they love it. So I have not seen my son sleep in my room since he's had his own room. And I do personally like it. I love just coming home, and when it's bedtime, I can unwind. If I don't want the TV on, it don't gotta be on. And I can just do my thing. And yeah, so yeah, it all worked out in the end. But again, I just really felt it was important for him, for me to just be like, okay, let's just go ahead and cut this co-sleeping cord. And I feel like it's going to benefit not only me and not only him, but his siblings too. And in some way, I know this is going to benefit everyone. And it has been so far. So I'm happy. They're happy. And we're continuing to live life. So, but yeah, but that's the story, how and why I cut the co-sleeping cord between me and my youngest son. And hopefully, like I said, if you are a mama who's currently co-sleeping with your child that may be like preteen stage, and you want to cut that cord, hopefully this is helpful for you. And if you're 100% comfortable with your child co-sleeping with you, amen. More power to you. Do whatever it is that helps you and your child be successful. I'm not knocking it. I just, for me and my what I have going on currently in my life, I just felt it was time. It was time for us. I know that we still have a lot of healing to do and all that good stuff, but I'm 100% confident that we can do it, in a different way than him feeling like he needs to be like the person who keeps me from being lonely or feeling sad, because it's not his job. That's my job. And I've learned that so much since my husband died, like that I I feel like I've said this before on the podcast too. I feel like I really depended on other people to to help me feel like I'm loved or needed or wanted or beautiful or safe, um, or less lonely. Like I depended on others for that when I shouldn't have, because once that main source of it was gone, I didn't know how to provide those things for myself. I didn't know. I didn't know how to love me because my husband always loved me. I didn't know like how to not feel lonely because there was someone always there. You know what I'm saying? So over this last year, almost 2 years, y'all, over the last 2 years, like I've had to teach myself these things. I've had to learn to love myself and learn to enjoy my own company. Like for real. Like learn how to enjoy my own company. And even though like at the end of the day, like yes, I do enjoy peace, solitude, quietness, I do enjoy those things, but at a point in my adult life, I had gotten used to not having it because there was always someone, there was always a kid, there was always a husband. So I never really got time to myself. So I kind of gave up on it. And I didn't really think of it again until it was time for me to think about it again. So that's where I'm at now. So I don't know. I've been learning a lot and I feel like I've grown a lot too. Um, but yeah, but I know I still got a lot of learning and growing to do. Amen. So, so with that, mamas, I'm going to go ahead and land the plane here. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast this week. If you're not already, please follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. I post funny reels there. You'll know anytime I upload an episode there because I always post little clips there of the podcast episode. But also, you can hit that follow button wherever you're listening to your podcast at, so that way you are notified every time I upload a podcast. And then also too, if you have any topics to share about motherhood or you want to share your own experience that you'd like me to share on the podcast, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. My DMs are open. So you can always hit me up there. And then lastly, if you haven't already, the Motherhood is Ghetto self-care journal for mothers is still available on Amazon. So you can order it for yourself, for a friend, for your mom, their mom, his mom, her mom, and any other mom you could think of that may find it helpful and useful. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, mamas. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Don't forget to follow the podcast and share with anyone who you think may enjoy it. And follow me on Instagram at motherhood_ghetto. Also, feel free to DM me if you have any experiences, opinions, or views on motherhood you'd like me to share on the podcast. Until next time, mamas.